Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. I don't want you to think that this is going to be another complaint session that Star Citizen is pay to win. That is absolutely not the intention here. Star Citizen, in my definition, is and does have elements of pay to win in it. If you go through and look at mobile games, MMOs, things like that, there are a lot more issues with pay to win than you would see in Star Citizen. Star Citizen has your inputs being your skills, and you don't improve at mining by gaining experience, and there aren't ways to pay to gain more experience, right? There's that huge element of progression being skipped in as far as skills go in MMOs doesn't exist in Star Citizen, right? You do have the purchasing of ships, and that is definitely paying to gain advantages, and any advantage that you gain by purchasing something on the website, I do feel is pay to win. I think the difference is, and I think it is not as problematic, is because two people can buy the same thing on the website for the same cost and get different experiences, right? So that's kind of where Star Citizen breaks that a little bit and is not as bad as people make it out to be. But Star Citizen has sold its main form of progression up to this point, spaceships, for 10 years. That is not a form of progression in the game anymore because it is so easily skipped and has been skipped by so many people. So the prestige of buying, for example, an 890 jump does not exist anymore in the Star Citizen universe. There needs to be more. Something else needs to happen in order to drive player interaction with the game world. The player. For me, I need to go to sleep and wake up thinking about what I'm going to do in the game next. What do I need to do? All those things. That's how I play MMOs. Everyone's different, right? One thing that I want to touch on with the pay to win argument that needs to be very, very clear, because I'm going to see this in the comments a lot. It's going to be the argument of what is winning in Star Citizen. There is no winning. It's a sandbox, so on and so forth. That is not an argument. That is, I think it could be one of two things. It could just be taking your own game experience where you may not care about winning, or you may not care about making any sort of progression, and you just hang out and play with your friends. Sure, that's an option for you. But going back to the 890 jump example, well, I think I would have grinded for an 890 jump a long time ago if it had some prestige for it. So by you being able to buy an 890 jump, I'm losing. If I'm losing, well, then to me, you're winning, whether or not you feel you're winning or not. Kind of weird, okay? But if I feel like I'm losing, I do feel like that there's elements of pay to win then. But it's just nowhere near to the extremes that people are placing on Star Citizen at all. The other element is I think a lot of people take what Star Citizen is today and says, what is winning in Star Citizen today, right? There is no winning because there's nothing to fight over. There's no competition. We barely ever interact with each other. But if you've played at Jumptown, you know that there's winning and losing, right? Because that's the first time ever that Star Citizen has pit players versus players and put us all in one place. Well, guess what? Someone wins and loses in that scenario. And if you don't have the right ships, you might lose. So there are elements of this in the game, right? So I want people who say that what is winning in Star Citizen to make sure that they think about what Star Citizen will be and not what it is currently. Now, moving on to the important part and the actual theme of today's show, reputation. Reputation, I think, is meant to take the place of the mistakes that were made by selling so many spaceships. We wouldn't be where we are today with the procedural planets and all these crazy things without tons of spaceships being sold, right? I think we're probably happy with the direction of what the game could be than what it would have been. And I think we all want to play Star Citizen for the scale, the craziness of the way planets look, and we want them to put a game in this game world, right? So I don't want to take away from ship sales and what it's done for the game, but it's also caused problems as well. And I think reputation is meant to replace that. I had this weird thought the other day that it's like, okay, well, they also sell money on the website. So how is reputation going to really improve things if Johnny Credit Card over here can swipe his credit card and buy Alpha UEC, and then me, the guy who's going to grind for some item behind reputation, let's say, he's just going to buy it from me? And I kind of wanted to hear what your guys' thoughts were about this, because it can go a number of ways. And it's not just this scenario, there's many others. I do win by you giving me the money. I earn exactly what I wanted to. So if I go and grind an item and I intend to sell it on some marketplace at some point and make the most amount of Alpha UEC possible, whether or not you purchase that money on the website, I still get what I wanted out of it. So I'm winning. But at the same time, you're paying to win and skip that grind. Is that what we want from the game? Should you be able to use that item with low reputation? So there's all sorts of things I would love to talk to you guys about as far as how reputation is meant to resolve the issues that have been created by Star Citizen's funding model. What are the edge cases? What do you see the system being? So this is more a discussion about reputation and less about pay to win, but in the subject matter of this is how we make progression in Star Citizen not pay to win. It has to be through reputation or other means that they may add later. But the current thing that we see in game is reputation. So very long monologue. I apologize, but I think it's important because I don't want you to think that this is just a pay to win Star Citizen bashing session. That is not what it's meant to be. And any of the callers in the queue, if it begins to get there, I am going to interrupt you and bring you back on topic. Okay. Our first caller is Michael Krakenov. Michael, welcome. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself, mate?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
It's good.
Yes, we're good. We're good to go. You should be able to see me. This is something new. I've never shown my camera, so if you want to, you can see me, and I can I will interrupt less. We have new technology here today. It's been there the whole time, but I just realized that I can do it now. So
excellent. As far as I'll discuss the elephant in the room as far as pay to win, and then we can move on to reputation, because that will be the better way to go.
Yeah, because you can absolutely agree or disagree with my discussion on it, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think Star Citizen, there's two things that they've got to get around pay to win mechanics, and that's skill checks and the skill ceiling that we'll have.
Yep.
Because you can buy yourself the best, as an example, the best Hornet as for just doing basic combat, because combat is probably the biggest skill check in the game at the moment.
Sure.
So we say we've got the best Hornet in the game and I've got the most basic Hornet. If I'm a better pilot than you, I'll beat your better Hornet. As an example. In theory.
In theory.
In theory.
But that's the problem.
Yes.
It's still a theory.
Yeah. And then reputation definitely is another one. I think rather than pay to win specifically, I would say it's more pay to advance and then pay to gain an advantage as far as
how are those things not the same?
Yeah.
How are they not the same?
Yeah, because
pay to win is really just meant to be a blanket statement for all of those things. And I think people use the word win to make arguments. And this is what game companies do, is they call it pay to convenience. Star Citizen has absolutely done that because it works.
Yes.
Within their narrative of trying to continue to keep you on their tit.
Mm. Yep. And there's definitely ships they've sold that do give much bigger advantages over other ones, like Pioneer as an example. And then you got someone who buys a basic Idris, and then someone who buys the basic Idris plus an Idris K kit is going to have a massive advantage over the guy with a basic Idris, and then they're going to have a bigger advantage over the guy with just an Aurora.
Yeah, I think that's still an in theory thing, but I think the Pioneer is the best example here.
Definitely.
There is one ship that does one thing, and you can have that thing on day one with land and build a outpost on day one, where
Yep.
God knows how long it would take to grind to be able to do that.
Exactly. And then
Right.
the only way we've got to get around that is to have potentially a reputation system that will prevent you from being able to just get your credit card out, get credits, and buy resources to build those buildings straight away. Or your base that you're going to build is going to be extremely basic until you unlock better schematics through a reputation system.
Exactly. And that's where the reputation system can be so powerful. So powerful. And the reason that this popped up was like, I did have that thought. I was like, would I be upset if I knew, for example, you, Mike, went and bought a bunch of Alpha UEC and bought the thing that I grinded for, right?
Mm.
In most scenarios, I wouldn't know. But it's what kind of brought the topic together today. And if I did, would that take away from it, and would that be considered pay to win? Like, basically, where's the line with Star Citizen on what we think is acceptable and what we don't? Should they be selling gold after? I mean, the thing is, I kind of agree with their argument, is that if we don't sell gold, somebody else is going to, and it's impossible to stop.
And you can look at Eve's economy and how they've handled it, and I think the way they've done it is it's worked out fairly well for them.
Okay, give some insight into that, because obviously I did do an Eve sponsored stream the other day, but I'm inexperienced.
I'm not like fully across the board as far as the Plex and the whole currency situation works there, but as far as like looking at it from an outsider perspective, because as I said, when that Eve streamed, the last time I tried Eve was quite a long time ago, and the new player experience wasn't that great then, but I've heard it's a lot better now. But they've got subscription services, and then they've got their Plex, which you can use to pay to advance or buy stuff. You're more than likely better off asking Eve players about this, because I'm just not super across it. But I know that their system, whatever they've implemented, definitely works, and there's not, we don't hear about massive pay to win issues for Eve. Like, whenever I look into Eve or anything, I don't hear like the yells of pay to win or anything come across for that game as well.
Yeah, because you still have to do you can use money, but you still need to gather resources and buy those things and put them together and build and move stuff around. There's more moving parts, and that's kind of, I think, why I made that comment about people who are going to say that Star Citizen is not pay to win or will not be pay to win, is if you let CIG go rampant and sell everything, land, spaceships, subscriber items, guns, armor, ammo, everything. Where if you don't create a line in the future, when those elements of Star Citizen are in, it's going to be incredibly pay to win. And that's the thing, is those things don't exist now because there is no economy. There is no player to player trading. There is no, like, everything is so incomplete that you can make the argument very easily that the current experience is not pay to win. But if you really look at what it might be, it's a slippery slope that we're on right now.
Yeah, and it could definitely fall one of two ways, depending on how CIG handles it. So, as I said earlier, the reputation system, I definitely agree with you, is going to be their biggest system in place to try and keep pay-to-win mechanics out of the game. There's also the issue of, if they want these people to keep putting more money into the project, as we watched that whaling video that you watched the other day.
Yeah,
they need to give whales some way to show off the fact that they are spending more money on the game over Johnny and his Aurora, who's working his hardest to get an 890 jump. So there is like a side of things they need to do to be profitable as a company, but also not detrimental to the game balance itself. So, and that's a hard place for any company to land on. But as far as pay to win, I don't think Star Citizen really has a lot of it. As I said, I think skill checks is going to be one of their best ways. So even if you do buy an Orion, to get the big mining stuff straight off the bat, those asteroids and, potentially what you're going to have to do to get access to them could be behind a reputation wall to begin with, to get access to those better mining fields, or a greater risk of combat, like piracy and those kinds of things, or just danger areas. And then there's also the fact that you might need to just be really good at mining to be able to use an Orion in mining as well, as an example.
Oh, God, man. I think that is one of the funniest comments. I think it makes me laugh every time when I hear that. Like you said it in a more reasonable way, but anytime you have these discussions, the YouTube comments are so funny. They'll be they'll go like this. Yeah, sure, I can buy an Idris, but are you going to be able to crew it? And then how complicated and it will be to crew and fly that ship? And it's like, well, let's see, buddy. Is that ship in game yet? Do you know what you're saying to be true? Then why are you saying it? Right?
But supporting your side of it as well, if we are getting out our credit cards.
Absolutes. That's why I think the way that you said it makes more sense. That it using the Orion might be more complicated, right?
Yeah.
But they're speaking in such absolutes, like, I bought my Idris, it will be this way. And it's like, you don't know that. You don't know anything.
Exactly. And then, but you can also look at it from the perspective of, hey, if I've got a big enough credit card, I can buy UEC to buy, the AI blades to effectively crew my ship for me, and NPCs to effectively do all the work for me. And all I have to do is fly from point A to point B. And I've paid to, 1 million credits to hire this mining NPC who's just going to be able to mine all the asteroids for me, and I won't have to worry about it. And, that's something that we're going to have to, worry about how blades and AI will work, and, how they're going to compete against players, because there needs to be benefits to both ways of playing, I think. But there needs to be a way that, going back to reputation system, if you want to, you're going to have to work with some kind of mining company to get access to their better AI miners or their better AI blades that they've, the company, air quote, has worked and developed or trained to be able to do those things for you. So there's a lot of ways it can go horribly wrong. And I don't want to come like really negative, but I feel like we're still very far away from anywhere being close to launch, that we're not going to really see or know how CIG is going to approach this, because honestly, I don't think they know how they're going to do it, for starters.
No, I've said this many times, and I probably said it on the podcast recently. We're still in this place with Star Citizen where we don't even have persistence, let alone server meshing, right? These two key features that they want to have in the game. And I keep talking about, if you don't know what the limitations of your engine are, how the hell are you going to design a game inside of an engine that you don't know the limitations, right? So that's where we're stuck right now. And there's nothing wrong with saying that we're so far away from these things happening that we just don't know. And I think some people also made, like when I said that you can't speak in absolutes, if I am speaking in absolutes, I am either misspeaking or you're not hearing me correctly. What I want to talk about today, and what the goal for today is how would we want the reputation system to work to try to combat pay-to-win mechanics. It's not, this is how it's going to be, because that's the YouTube commenter. The YouTube commenter comes in and says, this is how the Idris will work, you idiot. You know nothing, because that it makes them feel better about the choices that they made, guys. That's what I'm trying to say, is you have to take a look in the mirror and just chill out and understand what we have now versus what we may have in the future. And there's a big chance that if you let CIG go unchecked, which they currently, I feel, are, you're going to end up with a situation that may not be very fun.
Yeah. Well, I personally pulled out almost my entire funding from the game because I am losing a little bit of faith in the project. Because I just really don't see how they're going in the future, and is the game going to turn out what I want it to be? Because I definitely agree with you as far as what you said at the start, that I want to go to bed and wake up in the morning going, how am I gonna?
What do
I
I
want to go
have
to
to
bed
do
sleeping
next? Yeah.
about Star Citizen and waking up, back like World of Warcraft was back in the day for me.
Yeah.
That's the kind of MMO experience, original vanilla WoW, where it was all about community and you knew who the best players were and you knew who the best crafters were on the servers and that kind of thing. That's what I want from an MMO, but I don't think we'll ever get that again, just because of the era, and the time,
Because of
and
pay to convenience.
yeah, and then appealing to the casual player and that kind of thing as well.
Yep.
But as far as
those days
reputation,
are over.
yeah, and I think a big thing of it is as well was back when they came out, we didn't really have Facebook, we didn't really have YouTube. The YouTube was just starting, so like community, like connectivity with people online. Those MMOs, that was the way to connect for a lot of people online around the world. So
it was the way to learn how to play the game. Now you just fire up a YouTube video and you have step-by-step guide to do everything the moment it happens. And that was the big thing about those games and things like that. And that's where this is getting off topic, but it's very much on topic, because I think when we say that we want to go to bed and wake up and think about the game, and who the best crafters are, and know who the best PvPers are, or, for example, right? And you would want that could exist in Star Citizen, but it is so different, and the thing that you need to have in today's world is different than what you needed to have back then, right?
Yeah.
You had so much less information, that the grind was learning the mechanics of the game more than it was grinding your character reputation up or whatever, where the mechanics of the game are going to be very much out there and open, and you're going to have the ability to get decent at them quite quickly. So I wonder what the reason that this is on topic is pay to win for people like me and Michael are those elements, I think, from back in the day, where the best of the best earned it, and the best of the best, or at least the people that have the best things, earned them, and then the people who have the best things in the new age of MMOs didn't.
Yeah. They've opened their wallets to get access to them.
Yes. So this isn't about being the best PvPer. The best PvPer in Star Citizen will always be the most skilled player, and I think the best PvPer in other games will always be the most skilled player. But I think we're going along the line of like more achievements and goals that you have for yourself in games.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But so we'll try and not go back on that topic again.
Yeah.
As far as like the reputation system for me, I would like to see, like we know we've got the effectively 5 levels at the moment. You just earn more payout as far as money.
Yeah, this is not what we want reputation to be in the game.
Exactly.
And they've come out and said that as well.
Yeah, I like the part where we do get access to newer types of missions and harder missions, more difficult missions that encourage potentially group play. When we do have PS coming in, and if that does improve server performance, bit of copium here. Those bunker missions that are the higher difficulty ones, you might need more people to come and help you, because those AI will be significantly tougher to fight compared to when you were at level 1.
Siege of Orison with good AI, what would that be like community-wise? And
yeah, exactly. And then having the system set up so it spawns enough AI to counteract the amount of players that are actually there, so it is actually a proper war zone.
Yeah.
But for me, having the different levels of reputation, and then it's really hard to work out what kind of rewards they're going to have to do for each unlock. Is it going to be gear? Is it going to be access to gear? Is it going to be access to parts and components? Because there's so many things we could do. As I said earlier, it could be a case of, you grind rep with a mining company and you get access to AI NPCs that you can hire to crew your mining ships, and
or just better modules, things like that.
Exactly. So, and then how do we get around people opening their wallets to pay someone to get access to that? So I think there's a benefit to players being able to buy reputation-based items. But let's say that caps off at like the level 3 stuff. So like the middle tier reputation stuff. Whereas if you want to get the top tier, and even if you buy it, you can only hang it on your wall in your hangar. So,
but where's the logic in that? That's kind of here's the issue with Star Citizen is it has to make sense in order for them to do it in some ways, right? So
yeah,
like other MMOs that have skill that you have to gain and experience, that works. But in Star Citizen, that I would love for it to be that way, Mike. You and I are on the same wavelength, but how do you do that in Star Citizen?
I think, and this is probably a really far out there idea in chats, we're going to make fun of me, is that you could have, because we've got the respawning system mechanic, you could have a biometric lock for things and be able to access stuff. So say, I haven't been across mining in a while, but let's say the Brant module is the best module that you can fit on your ship. To be able to activate that module, the company who sells that only sells that to their top tier operators who work for them and work with them.
Okay,
so
I don't think that Chad could make fun of that too much, to be perfectly honest. I think that there's some, like, if you want reputation to combat pay to win, that to me sounds like bind on pickup in other games that I just read in chat. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that's definitely a way they can do it in a space sci-fi game. And then, have that, we've got the, what is it, Death of a Citizen or whatever they call it, Death of a Spaceman.
Yes.
Where once you run out of your 10 or so lives that you've and you move on to your next clone, or if they're still doing that, I don't even know what they're doing with it anymore. But, you might lose access to that. You'll receive it, the modules and that, from your inheritance, but as they've said, like, if you do die enough times and you lose your clone, that you may lose reputation, and then you may have access to it, but you can't use it because you don't have the biometric signature and locks to unlock access to it anymore. But you will have an advantage because you are the child or what have you, relative of the person who worked really hard for that company to get access to them, and there may be an easier way for you to get re-access to it, as an example.
Okay.
So I think that's definitely one way. And then to make it so that we aren't completely excluding people that want, because the whole Death of a Spaceman system is very convoluted, as someone said in chat. So working stuff around that as well is going to be difficult too.
The whole system starts out convoluted, so it's
yeah, for sure. And then I lost my train of thought.
You were going to go into reputation.
Yes. So let's say, because I don't feel that even if stuff is locked behind a reputation wall, you shouldn't be able to use your reputational benefits to benefit yourself and others, if that makes sense. So let's say if we do have 5 tiers of reputation with a company, maybe tier 1, 2, and 3, those parts you could buy and sell on to people, or maybe give advantages by moving stuff on like that for yourself and others. Because that encourages people to go out and work for a bunch of different companies. It gives you something to grind, because we need something to grind with. Because at the moment, the game is make money and the economy is broken. But in the future, if ships aren't going to be what you're working towards,
what are you working towards? Yeah,
exactly. And I think having, a thing you can work towards is you grinding rep with these companies to get access to the high level stuff that you want to use for yourself. If you're a miner, you want to get really high rep with the mining orgs to be the best miner out there. Whereas if I'm, say, Larry, the BMM owner, I want to be maybe middle tier with the miners, middle tier with the salvagers, so I can buy these parts, put them on my BMM, and go around and sell people from, say, Microtech, has a really good mining module that's middle tier. Then I'll go take that to, say, Nyx, where they could only get low tier stuff, and then that helps the whole, moving stuff around the economy, and then getting into very hopium copium territory here, and then that helps drive not only moving stuff around, trading, and then he might hire people or AI with rep to escort him, and then you've got people pirating, and it's just, there needs to be a game loop, and I don't see a Reputation could be the game loop where it's the encompassing system of Star Citizen outside of skill checks.
I disagree so hard.
Yeah,
I think Reputation has to enhance whatever they do to drive player action, and I think it can't be the player action itself.
Yeah.
Because once you achieve the highest rep, what do you do? So there has to be these, whatever end game in Star Citizen looks like, whatever mid game in Star Citizen looks like, I feel Reputation has to enhance that experience and build upon it. Whether it's something like owning a factory or something, like, these are all just spitballing. We don't know anything, but just long term, what are you fighting for? What are you trying to do in the game? What is your goal each day? If it's just to gain rep to get a certain item to sell to other people, it's still the same game that we're playing today, is how I look at it. It's
yeah, of course.
You're just watching your alpha UEC go up. What are you spending that alpha UEC on? What are you doing? What are you doing as a group each day with your friends? Is it certain raids? Why are you doing them? Right? It's off topic, but it's on topic, because for me, the Reputation has to drive, has to enhance whatever is driving you, and not be the driving force itself.
Yeah, and you could use Reputation to get access to, as you said, those raids and different systems and that kind of stuff. But
yes.
I don't know. We're just. What is? I guess the question is, what would endgame look like for you? Because that is, how would Reputation work for you this is a complete game environment?
I don't know. I can't answer the question. The only thing that I would answer is, whatever reason that you're out there mining for, it has to be more than just making money. You have to be able to use the stuff that you're doing, whatever salvaging, why ever you do that, you have to be able to use it. Whatever info running, you have to be able to use that information. Whatever bounty hunting, you have to be able to let's say get something good from those bounties occasionally, or something like that. You have to gain something from the experience, not just money, or not just item. And then the items that you gain through gaining Reputation in the Miners Guild, for example, will make the process faster, more efficient, and you become the best by having some better components, but it would mostly be like game knowledge or whatever. It would just make your life easier. But our call is going on significantly long. We have other callers, but I just want to say that where Michael got to with the biometric thing, that's why we do answer the call, right? Instead of just sitting here complaining about Star Citizen being pay to win, and we kind of put ideas out there that are And Mike, I'm going to let you go. So thank you
Yep.
very much for the call. I'm just going to kind of do a little talk here, and I don't want to keep
No
you on there.
worries.
No problem.
Have a good one.
You too. So the idea of this would be something that I think is really cool, and players putting ideas out there that we think are really good ideas is what Star Citizen and what community feedback is all about. And I thought that that was a really good bit of community feedback. And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but this is something that happened a long time ago. But Saurus and I came on this podcast a very long time ago, WTFosaurus or Saurus, I think now. And we talked about achievements and the 890 jump in specifics, where you see the 890 jump and you look at it, and that's supposed to be like this incredible wow moment for everybody. Like, look at that guy over there, right? You don't have that moment in Star Citizen because you know where that 890 jump came from, most likely. And then through the comments in that video, somebody made a comment and said, why don't you just give exclusive paint skins to people who purchase Star Citizen, purchase the 890 jump or any ship in game. And I put that out there on Twitter, I believe. I took his comment and said, this is a great idea. And then that got on Reddit, and then Chris Roberts saw it and made a post on Spectrum saying that if you buy a ship in game, we do want to give those exclusive paints away. They never did it, but them saying that the idea is a good idea is kind of what these shows are all about. And I love Michael's idea about the biometric thing, because you kind of do need to lock some things away from people who don't earn them. And how do you do it in a game like this? How do you lock a gun that you can pick up? How do you lock armor? How do you lock items on a ship from people using them? And it is a kind of crazy thing to think about, but it's a really good idea. And that's kind of what we're looking for out of today's show, is coming up with ideas for Rep to be that experience level without being that experience level in a world that's supposed to feel real and not have skill, that you have some elements of it. It doesn't have to be a lot, but some elements of, well, yeah, you can't do that yet, right? So that's again, I know you guys are going to rage in the comments. I know you're going to disagree and not what you want out of Star Citizen. But the same way you get to argue about what you want or what you don't want, I get to argue what I want. And we don't have to agree. And I'm not going to hate you for disagreeing with me. I just want you to not hate me for having my own feelings and taking the games that I loved from my childhood and from my experiences and wanting them to be in Star Citizen. What's special about Star Citizen is they built these planets, they built this star system for now and hopefully a universe in the future that we all want to play games in. And we're all going to have feedback on what we want Star Citizen to look like, because we don't know what it is. They haven't told us what it is yet, so we're all going to have our feelings about what it should be, but I don't hate you for having a different opinion than mine. All right? All right, our next caller is Derpiest Turtle. Derpiest, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I hear you fine.
All right, nice. I'm glad to be on here. I really love your content and think it's critical but very useful. Like, it's been very informative to me, at least.
Sometimes it's trash.
Thinking harder. Well, I haven't seen that yet.
Just wait. Yeah. You'll come across one.
Okay. But yeah, there's a lot of things that we just don't know yet, and they're so speculative, like from every aspect of the game, which isn't so much a bad thing as it is like not being able to see the future and what people might like or not like and be used to and be like, oh, I really want to do this or I really want to do that, or man, that's pretty garbage. I don't want to participate in any sort of that. But some ideas I had were like, having to do with the ships and like the locations, whether involving like mercenary groups or paranoid governments or the Banu or like the Vandal, especially because maybe you'll need some rep to have some assistance for that specific area that's Banu controlled. Like they'll literally bring a javelin or something of the sort to help you out. Or it'll be an item that is kind of like locked to you, like I think Michael was saying,
Mm-hmm.
but is more like applied to your identity rather than actually being an item, more like a badge or something that
Can you give
you
some examples?
like like on your profile in the Moby Glass, like just having it appear, maybe with like a code in your Moby Glass, you're able to open a door or something and get access like to information that you might not have if you didn't grind for that rep. And that isn't like something sellable, because I was like considering your idea about selling stuff to that you earn in the game, and it will have varying amounts of use, but yes, it will be sold. So there has to be something else that is earnable but not sellable.
Yeah. Usable,
And
but not sellable.
yeah, and there has to be adjustments to like things in the store, like I was saying in the chat. Like there shouldn't be grenade launchers; it should just be skins.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think them selling ships in the shop is too much of a problem, even in the
No.
long term,
And
because
that's what I wanted to
people.
say at the beginning is we've
Go ahead.
come as far as we've come, and it's
Yeah.
and you can't take your gotcha games and your mobile MMO games and kind of apply the same pay to win ideas to Star Citizen as people try to do with it, because anybody who plays the game can see that just watch an Avenger 1 video, he kills people with prospectors,
Yeah, and the Herald. It's
yeah.
hilarious. I mean, but it's also, I mean, it is pay to win, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because where I start with an Aurora, you're just going to have a hammerhead, and then you're just going to ram me or something,
Yeah. And
no
not
matter what.
everybody is Avenger 1.
Yeah. I'm certainly not Avenger 1, and even my level of skill won't compare to someone that has a group of people. Like, no matter their knowledge, it's 4 size 4s, 4 of them, 6
Mhm.
of them even. And I'm not going to be able to do much whether they spawn camp me or whatever. I mean, that's technically griefing, but there's always going to be those messed up people who do that, like,
Yeah.
whether it's allowed or not. So
Mhm.
it's just, also those ships in the store, it's like a group of people is going to grind for it anyways, and they'll already have an advantage compared to someone who comes in later in the game. So there's also that point of view on it. And I personally am more into like that I have to survive kind of mentality. Like I know all these people are going to buy these massive ships and have orgs and crew them and all that, but it's like a rush and a sort to
To
have to deal
catch
with
up
it.
to
But that's
them.
just yeah. To catch, not in the sense catch up to them, but like avoiding them and maybe thinking ways outside of that. Because this is all speculative, but there's going to be there could be many ways to avoid those types of players and be warned of them or know where they're at or something of the sort. I would think so, but those gameplay loops aren't even implemented yet at the
I
moment.
mean, think about how weird. I just think about what you said and just think of how weird that is. Well, there should be mechanics to avoid the pay to win players. Like what? No, there
I,
shouldn't be.
yeah,
The
that's
mechanics should
true.
exist to bring people in line with each other as much as possible, or to not give such a massive advantage to the test squadron that people actually want to avoid them altogether. That sounds
I mean, that's so hard though. Like making a system like even engineering, like someone's gonna figure it out and like be able to perform the tasks very efficiently compared to a new player. And it's like, what do you do then
yeah.
when an entire organization is on a javelin and they're performing at utmost to like the very top. They're just really good. Like there's not much you can solve with that.
But being really good and learning, I think your example is weird because in a lot of ways I have no issue with it. It's coming together as a group in to gain the knowledge of the game, to learn how to do it as quickly as possible is exactly what we want. The issue here is the ship the thing that gives them the advantage, or is it them putting their brains together and coming up with the most efficient and best way to do things, the advantage? Most likely it's number 2, right? And
it is.
My point of view and where I'm coming from on a lot of the reputation-based stuff is the grinding for an item, or the what is the reward for you going through a reputation path, and how is that
affecting like your
preserved? How is it preserved from becoming pay to win? That's kind of where I want the topic to be, or at least to start from. And I feel like we're in a weird place where we are talking about right now.
It did go on a tangent. And I was saying about locations and mercenary groups and governments. I think it could go in that way where a specific area isn't allowed to you, or you're not able to buy certain weapons, and people who do grind for that rep, it's like it's not as bad. Like there's things that you should be able to just be able to give out because you earned it in a sense, or maybe you only get one and then you have to keep doing that mission if you want multiple or something like that, in my opinion.
It could be as simple as, okay, here's something where we don't know the long-term goal and how it's going to work.
It's all speculative.
Jump points and quantum travel locations. So you're mentioning unlocking an area, unlocking a place. Well, I think we all believe that at some point there will be the ability to chart in some way let's say
endeavor,
an asteroid belt, right, or something, right? Like there's some good ore over here. I'll sell that information to somebody. But something as simple as, you are not allowed to go through this jump point because you are you've done things in the game that we don't, the people of that system say you are not allowed to go here. You have to go the long way. Or take it even simpler, and we give you the company that owns Hurston L3. They're happy with you, and you've earned reputation doing cargo hauling back and forth from their station. You get a jump point that is much closer, or a quantum travel point that is much closer to the station than the average player. Right? Like right now you have to jump to the cloud, then to the station, and then again, this one would be like more direct, maybe, right? Just something as simple as that, where you've earned a little bit of an edge on somebody. It doesn't have to be something crazy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because like there are things that I want to be closed off to me. Like when I start with my 5K or however much money, or like I want to be able to have your type of moment where you're like, what am I going to do? Like, because there are going to be points where I'm like, I don't really care for that ship, or I don't really like what it does anymore, and I want to get something else, because that currently is my own caveat where it's like something I have to grind for, and it kind of does keep me up at night now. But during release, or when the game launches and after that testing period, it's going to be entirely different. And
what's your gaming experience, like MMOs and stuff?
Shoot, I couldn't name any off the top of my head. I mean, Minecraft server.
Okay, so you don't have like a big MMO like WoW or anything. You never played any of those?
No, never.
Okay.
Never.
Just curious.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to ask everybody that because of what the conversation me and Michael had about games that just don't exist anymore and never will again. but we really want this game to be like that. You know, like everybody
Definitely.
wanted Vanilla WoW because they thought it would be Vanilla WoW again, and it just wasn't.
Like, I want a game like Space Engineers, because you brought up crafting as well. Like, deeper game loops within what you do rather than just earning money. Because I want to do stuff like that, like crafting. It allows for another type of creativity for what you're grinding for.
Yeah, and I want
you
guys
feel like it's
like
actually
you. Yeah, and I want guys like you to be in my org because I want to go out and grind the materials for you to be the crafter. And then we all work together towards whatever. Again, that common goal, I don't think we're ever going to know what it is. Not for a very long time, until meshing and all the framework of Star Citizen exists. Then they can kind of share what endgame might be. But whatever we as a group want to try to achieve that day, that month, that year, that decade, because we hope it to be that way. What are we working towards? Why am I mining? Why am I cargo hauling? Why am I salvaging? Right? All those things should tie into an overall encompassing goal for an individual, and there needs to be many different goals for individuals in games like this.
Rather than just the most simple, because to me, they're in the game right now. There are goals, but they're not flushed out enough, in my opinion. And obviously, because
you can create goals
so
in the
early.
game, but the game doesn't help support you to achieve them, right? A good game would know what those goals that players are trying to achieve would be, and then create systems to help support it and make it fun. Star Citizen doesn't have those systems to make it fun yet.
Yeah, it's not implemented.
Yeah,
but it definitely could be there, and there's too many things that could be end game for me to put just one on the board and know, well, if that's going to be like that, am I even going to like that type of end game? And is everything I'm doing worth it? You know, but I am going to do like my own thing, obviously, and like my own way of playing. But I do see a type of crafting system in the game that's going to really interest me and make me want to play a lot. Like with whether it be buildings or Moby glasses to sell, or like even like crafting items to sell, even though like you could have just sold the item. Like systems like Pyro and Nyx and all that aren't going to be as easy to acquire things, so crafting would be that what is that puzzle piece to fit it in. Like even with cargo running and all that, I was talking with one of my org members about it, and he was like, well, is cargo running going to be like a Pyro thing? Like is that even going to be available? Because just doing the same system is going to be boring. And I was like, I don't know, but hopefully, because it's kind of fits in, it would fit in the lore to trade that type of stuff in something like Pyro, because people are going to want it, and maybe that will even earn you some rep, you know?
Yeah, instead of them just being able to buy it. So chatters that are saying that what he's saying is off topic, it's completely not. So shut up. But yeah, Derpiest, I do think I'm looking at time, so I'm trying to
you're good.
Move things along. But I think we had a pretty good discussion there. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
it was nice talking with you.
Of course. Nice to have you on. First time, right?
Yeah, first time.
All right, man. Thanks. Hopefully it's not the last.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, man. Bye.
It's exciting.
All right, talk to you. And our next caller is going to be Certified Gumbo. Hello, Certified. And our next caller. You're going to want to mute me for sure, because the stream. I can hear you. All right.
All right. See, turn my camera on.
Oh, you're putting your camera on. Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, nice. Let me get you on cam now. What's up, man?
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. So, what are you thinking on the whole topic? We've talked to a couple people now. I'm trying to get your name on screen while I'm talking, and I can't do two things at once because I'm a dummy. You were certified Gumba for a second. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on everything? And I want to start out because this is one thing that I said to Turtle on the last one is, what's your experience with MMOs? And because the first caller really makes me think that, like, oh man, we want those old school grindy MMOs that literally no company makes anymore, because the larger player base, which is like your casual player, without putting a negative connotation on casual, just don't play, and then it's all just hardcore, and it's like just two or three people, and you don't have a big player base then.
Yeah. So, God, first MMO I played was probably RuneScape, and then Star Wars Galaxies.
Okay. Everybody said that would be the game that I would absolutely love, and I never got a chance to play it.
Yeah, no, you would absolutely have loved Galaxies. Like, there's so many parallels between this game and Galaxies. It's insane. I think, man, I miss LucasArts. Back they used to make some great content, man, I swear. But yeah, like, I mean, I played Star Wars The Old Republic, like the Star Trek Online, like all these, everything that's going free to play now, and it's basically pay to win. Where they do take the grind out. It's a stupid concept, because like, take Star Wars Online or Star Wars the Old Republic. Like, you can spend like $60 to boost your character to max level. You know, like, that is so crazy. Yeah. Like,
and
I don't see how they can do that in this game necessarily, but I do understand the argument of it becoming pay to win, because right now everything is based around like what ships you own. Like, nothing else really has any value. Like, we have no economy. Like, we have no crafting. Like, we have no player created items that have value that we kind of sort of place value on. Like, none of that really exists right now. And so, like, I think for me, the economy, reputation, and logistics kind of are going to make or break the game. Because, you know, I don't mind all that much that you can buy ships right now. But if the game continues at its current trajectory, like, once you've bought the ships that you want, like, what the hell do you do?
Yeah, I think you said it. It was real subtle. It was real quiet. But you said, or real quick, it was, there needs to be things that I place value on.
Yeah.
Because the game places a UEC value on everything, but there needs to be something that I, the individual, can place value on. And what's cool about that is that thing can be so many different things for different people. And you have experiences in MMOs, and you would definitely I would imagine you've done a grind that somebody else wouldn't be willing to do, and other people would do a grind that you aren't willing to do, right?
Yeah,
or just play a certain way. And that's I think the key theme that I hope people are kind of getting here, is that I'm not, and I doubt you are, trying to place a certain style of play as the style of play, and this is the way Star Citizen needs to be. It needs to be more, for me, and what I'm trying to portray or say is that there needs to be a lot of general things that people want to do, but reasons to do them need to be there, and value for the rewards that you get in doing them and all those things. But it has to be player placed value. It can't be monetary value, alpha UEC value. It has to have other things.
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember, but you did a reaction to one of my videos on YouTube. It was about Jumptown.
Yes.
So that's, and I went off on a tangent because I realized, like, writing the video, I kind of missed the whole point that I was trying to make with it. But it is kind of sort of what this is. Like, it's, you know, not everybody is going to do the grindy type of stuff. But if you want to grind, there should be a lane for you, and there should be value in doing that, because, like, if we're an organization, or if you're just a single player, like, you should have your own, whatever you want to do in this game should be entirely up to you, and you shouldn't have to grind if you don't want to. But at the same time, the people who do grind shouldn't be shit on because someone else has a big purse and they can just drop cash anytime they please. Like,
they have to understand that there's a give and that there has to be a give and a take. Your convenience can't take away from my reward and from my achievement. Your convenience can't ruin my achievement is the key thing here for me when it comes to seeing that 890 jump. And that's why, you know, the comment that was made and why I think Chris jumped on it and thought it was a decent idea is that, sure, I still get the value in the achievement of earning an 890 jump in game because I have that special. What if you take it even super far and have the special interior for it? It's a totally different design, right? Something like that. That would be, you know, a lot of work and probably too much for right now, but something like that is where your convenience, you bought the 890 jump, but I still gain my achievement. And then I think it's an okay balance, right? Because we're talking about an 890 jump. That's basically a cosmetic item, essentially, at this point.
And it, you know, because we have to kind of sort of speak in hypotheticals because we don't know how the reputation system is going to play out. But like, that's where the reputation system could actually be that great equalizer, because I can go and grind and get this reputation up and get these exclusive items. Like you're familiar with racing games. So like, you know how we have different classes of vehicles. So like an S-class, like, yeah, you got an S-class vehicle, like that's top tier premium, like that. Those types of things should only be gotten through reputation, even with components, weapons. Like, I don't think anything military grade should be sold on the civilian market point blank period, unless you have reputation with a military contractor like the CDF, and you've gone through, and now if you know, you're starting to be able to purchase military grade weapons for your ships and things like of that nature. Like, even if you buy like a military, if you buy a Gladius, it should come with stock civilian components, and then you have to, depending on how you know who you align yourself with, and then even on the illegal side, like if you're doing illegal stuff, like there should be ways for you to get those components, and like that's where piracy can be a good thing. Like I like the idea of the biometric scanning, but at the same time, like, does that limit piracy?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna kind of go a little bit, and I didn't think about the piracy side of things until you mentioned it. But the first caller, we talked about that biometric marker thing. Yeah. So the ability, would you rather have just the ability to buy and then use if you want, or do you want that lock of being able to use something? Because that does kind of kill piracy. If, all right, well, we have these really, really good items, but if you can't use them, how does that work? And how would a pirate have rep that a lawful player wouldn't, right? Are there different paths to be able to use this? It gets complicated, I think. I think
exclusivity is more important. Like, I think that having limits on the number, if the persistence works as advertised, right? Like, then they should be able to put a limit on how many items go into the verse. And like, that's, if you limit like these reputation gained items, like an S tier, you know, stealth component for your ship, and someone's unlocked it, and then a pirate comes along, they disable the ship, and like, you know, they open up the components and like, oh, yo, this dude's got all these S-class components. Like, yo, that's a big score for you. That's like, that's a good day. That's a great day. And so for you to be able to go to a fence with these S-class components and sell it like that, I mean, you know, that's your day made
Escape
right
from
there.
Tarkov reference, right?
Right. Okay. So like, that's the thing. Like, there should be stop gaps, but it can't limit gameplay for someone else. Like, there should be reasons, if I'm a pirate, to pirate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not into the illegal side of gameplay, but I understand as like a lawful player, like, I need people who are going to do the illegal stuff. Like, I need that, like, that activity, like, because I don't want to fight NPCs all day. Even once the NPCs get formidable, if that even ever is a thing, like, I don't care to, because there's always a pattern. They can be, NPCs are predictable. It doesn't matter how difficult you make them they operate on this rigid structure that you can kind of sort of.
Yeah, it's not 2951. It's still 2022, and it's just that's how it's going to be. One of a former designer at Star Citizen mentioned a little comment here, and I always point it out because like it's what he actually does, and it's not a bunch of gamers discussing things as much, so he gives a little bit more insight. But just on the pirate thing, he said you could take hot items to like a cleaner service and make them not hot, and you can be able to use them then, and then you'd have to have that rep with the cleaner to be able to use the higher end items, and then it's the exact same balance as you would get for a lawful player, right? So you could take it and balance it the exact same way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool if that's something that they're going to implement at some point.
Yeah.
I know one thing in the store, I think that you buying UEC is a terrible idea. I think I don't mind ships. I do mind them selling like components. I don't think you should be able to. Well, I don't know. Maybe I guess it depends on how reputation goes, but like being able to go to the website and buy components or weapons or things like that, I'm not a fan of.
I think it's not going to be a thing.
Cosmetic stuff is fine. Like you want to buy some clothing or something like some apparel. I don't care about that stuff. That doesn't add or detract from like gameplay.
I think that there's just like these little one-off like essentially mistakes that they've made. Like I imagine and I would hope that one day the grenade launcher that you can buy on the subscriber store would just become a skin and not be what it is now. There's the 300 Eyes sale that they did, which you can actually buy components in that sale. That is not the direction that they're going in anymore. So hopefully that won't be a thing. So there's a lot of cleaning up they need to do, but I don't think that they should sell components on the website either. I do see the argument for selling gold because it's going to happen anyway. And you might as well fund the servers with that instead of some, I don't know, gold selling website.
Yeah, I guess it's
a shitty compromise. I'm with you. I would love for everything to just be pure, but is it realistic? I don't know.
People will. Yeah, I forget because there's that underground market for.
It'll always be there,
currency.
And it's going to be there anyway.
Yeah. So it just because people will buy it, I guess it's acceptable. But I mean, reputation, I guess, is if that's the king of the currency, that's great. But still, what are you going to spend UEC on?
Yeah, that's the one thing that I want to. It can't just be reputation, but reputation is a big thing. Like everybody, and this was like again the big theme of the thing. You got to make sure that you look outside of the current experience. There are like 0 gold sinks in the game. They may be in the game, but they're not functioning correctly, like fuel or repair or rearm. Right? Like none of those things. Like you buy fuel for your ship, it's like 5 alpha UEC. It's like, right. Okay, this is
the quantum fuel never isn't. It's never for me. It's never expensive. It's always the hydrogen fuel that's like the most expensive, and I rarely burn all of that way. And even when you do, it's like, okay, well, if quantum fuel was that expensive, then like this would be, this could make things interesting because,
I think they're I think they're prepping for that in Pyro.
I hope so.
Yeah, and that's just one
element. Scarcity is going to be fun to me. I think even I think scarcity. I think what they did in 317 or 317 when they tried to add scarcity by taking some things out of the stores.
Mm-hmm.
I think
316
was that 316.
I believe.
I'm out of town, so I haven't played in like a couple months because I'm working out of town. So,
okay. So we're gonna get completely like that. We're gonna get completely off topic here, but I want to share this with you because I think you would enjoy it. So I believe it was 316 that they took certain weapons out of the shops, and they didn't wipe your inventory. So everybody bought those weapons in 315 in bulk and just had them for when 316 dropped, so they didn't lose them, and they would always have them. But when 317.2 dropped, we lost that inventory. So this is the first patch where railguns, missile launchers, snipers, a lot of things are not available to buy in stores. So what me and like my group of friends have done is we go and we've been gathering them, and now I've reached out to orgs and we sell them.
See, I like that.
Yeah. So that's like it's like the most rewarding, and this is where I go to sleep and wake up thinking about Star Citizen for the first time ever in my life. I have 3 orders right now, and I can't fill them because I don't have enough railguns. I gotta grind.
They've created scarcity, and now we have smuggling gameplay.
Yeah. And it's not smuggling because it's like legal. If I bring the guns to a station, like nobody, like
I mean,
won't get in trouble for it.
It's still smuggling. Yeah, it's still smuggling. It's legal smuggling. It's not illegal. Like it's multiple forms of smuggling.
Yeah, so it's like the first kind of MMO feel that I've ever had, and it in this game, and it feels really, really good. But yeah, super off topic, but it's still kind of like it can't just be reputation. But how nice would it be if instead of just doing missions, well, that reputation unlocked another area that this is where you get railguns more easily, or this is where that kind of thing. That's where it ties into the combo.
Because so the whole idea of Grimhex becoming off limits to lawful players, I think that's like I'm looking forward to that day. But also for the illegal players, like you shouldn't be able to go to like any of the landing zones to get fuel or anything like that.
That should be your spot,
or not necessarily. I would say. Because each of the, like, if you have a negative rep with Crusader security, then you shouldn't be able to go to any of the Crusader areas unless it's controlled by Ninetales. Then you can if you have rep with Ninetales.
Yep.
But maybe if you go to ArcCorp security doesn't necessarily, you don't have a negative affinity with them. You can go to ArcCorp and land or something like that. Like, I don't think it should carry over necessarily unless you're like just absolutely going crazy, but I think it should affect you differently depending on where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think reputation absolutely should lock and unlock places, and then you have systems like Pyro where reputation won't play into that at all, because unlawfulness means okay, well, none of this stuff exists, and then it's a matter of like, this is a risk and reward area. There's different ways of unlocking and unlocking content, right? Like, you are going to die here because you suck is different than, we will not let you land here and you won't be able to take advantages of our services. But those two things are still pretty awesome. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of since you have more MMO experience than some of the other callers, where we can go. But
like that XP grind, I don't miss the XP grind,
and that's why they let people skip it.
Yeah,
and I was gonna make a comment about that when you first were like, you could pay $60 and skip the rep.
But the problem is it's not a substitute. Like it just gets you there, and then what? I do like that the input, like it is a skill-based game. So like your input is what matters most at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what type of, well, it does matter, but you can kind of neutralize that. You kind of sort of equalize based on how skillful you actually are.
Yeah.
With your inputs. Like, that's huge, because if I don't have to worry about grinding for an XP, and like, I can hop into my Gladius as soon as I get back home, and like, I'm not going to be worried about, oh God, the level cap has increased from 75. Now I got to start all this gear that I spent hours upon hours grinding for is absolutely valueless, because it can't protect me against the in game now.
Exactly.
Because they've moved the bar. Like, I used to hate that with MMOs. Like, you would get to level 50, and then they increase the level cap to 75, and then everything you spent years getting the best gear in the game, and all of a sudden it has absolutely no value. Yeah. I don't want to see that like happen. Like, I feel I've always wanted there to be some type of, I don't know, some way for that grind to not be diminished. Like, if you go the XP route, like, don't just toss all that hard work that in those gameplay hours that people put in for all that gear.
It's hard because when you get to the end, it's at the end.
It's the end. But I mean, sometimes like we do raids and then you get like you have the level 50 gear, but then there's tiers to like the level 50 gear, and then you get the maximum, the legendary gear. You're all purple or gold or whatever it is, and all of a sudden that stuff is like, yeah, that ends, and you're like, Jesus, okay, now I got to start over, and that's fun for a while, but then it gets repetitive, and that is something I do like about this game. Like I don't have to necessarily worry about that.
I think in those games, it's very clear. Like, I guess you're making a point that contradicts something that I want for Star Citizen, but I think you're changing my point of view a little bit on it. Is like WoW or whatever MMO that people have played out there. There's a very clear like end game. This is best in slot gear. This is the end game raid or whatever, right? And once you've done it, that's it. You've done it. And then what? You have to get the next expansion and do that next thing. What will Star Citizen do? And if reputation plays a factor in that or not, I don't know if it necessarily matters. But that's the kind of thing where Star Citizen does feel different because they haven't told you what the end game is, and there may or may not be one. Well, I feel like I need something to achieve, but it's so clear in those games that once you achieved it, it's now over. How will Star Citizen be different?
You know, it's something that I think would be would be cool is if let's stay on the ships, for instance, right?
Okay.
Like, all right, you got your 890 with this current version of the 890. Let's jump to gold standard, feature complete 890 jump with the components and all that stuff work. Mm-hmm. Well, Origin, they're a company, so they're going to make another 890 jump. It's not going to be, they can create a new version, right? Like version 2.0.
We see it with the Hornet.
Right. Like, yes, exactly. The Hornet. Don't take the 890, the original 890 and scrap it. Like, create a new version of it and continue to create versions. And, you know, it has different features just like any car would. Like, a 1992 Honda Accord versus a 2022 Honda Accord, right? Like, people can still put a lot of value in that 92 Accord if it's well kept and maintained.
I had a 94 Accord, okay, and that car was awesome.
Exactly. Like, it's never, nothing can diminish the value of that car for you. Yeah. Like, the cars, as long as the car runs and it does its function that you need it to do, then it hasn't lost its value, right? Like,
and how would that differ though? Sorry to interrupt, but how would that differ for the going from level 60 to level 75 for the 890 jump V1 versus V2? How would, like, because there would obviously have to be at the very least a money grind in order to buy it. Well, how would it be different than that? Like, oh, I have to do this again feeling.
Well, you're adding features, and like let's maybe we can we have the ability to upgrade our ships. Like, let's say I like the way the new 890 jumps viewport is way better than, well, then, you know, you could just maybe upgrade your viewport and keep your 890, and then, you know, I don't need the new weapons. And, yeah. I mean, they've talked about modularity, like things like that would be fine, because like I don't have to start from scratch. Like, I can just continue to add to what I've already gotten. But then someone's always going to have that.
Go there. I'm
but
worried.
this is where like they can use FOMO to their advantage and it not feel like shitty, because it is like, as much as polarizing as their ship sales can be, that is a damn good marketing scheme that they've got going on. It's brilliant. Like, you got this big in-game showcase. It's like, okay, I see what you're doing, but I appreciate the effort, because at least it's not just a trailer. that they throw on YouTube, and then this is available in store. Like they have a literal showcase inside the game with all this stuff. And
they
it's
do
like,
that
all right,
shit too, though.
Yeah. And it's in addition to, right? Like it's not just the trailer. It's also that, okay, at IAE, we're going to put this on the show floor. Mm-hmm. We're going to let you test fly it. Like I appreciate that effort. Like
me too, to be honest.
I'm not gonna buy everything because I get like, yeah, you're trying to sell me, but I do applaud that. And if they continue to do that, like, yeah, people are going to buy those items because it's a new hot thing. Right? Like, and then the exclusivity, right? Like if I buy the new version of the 890, it's going to come with an exclusive paint job or an exclusive interior for that IAE year that it comes out. I've got no problem with that.
Me neither. Anything that is not giving you an advantage, but giving you like a little token of achievement, like going any item or thing that you can either earn in game. I would rather not be earned on the website, but earn in game where it is a token of remembering that moment, that event, that day, that thing is a good thing.
Yeah, like Siege of Orison, for example. I know that's going on. Like there should have been some sort of commemorative thing for. Is there? What is it? So
each lieutenant has their own special armor.
Oh, so damn! I'm missing out on that.
Yeah,
that
so it's Ninetales themed special armor just for those lieutenants. So you keep doing it to get the armor of that lieutenant. So I have the helmets of 3 of them.
So it's like what they did with the CDF stuff for
was
it Xenothreat 9? Yeah,
way better.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's cool subscriber items, like items that were originally sold on the website or subscriber stuff that are Ninetales themed. So like the I guess the hot suit, the red shiny hot suit. There's one that is a Ninetales themed one. That was a boss. There's the that Spartan helmet. There's one that was a boss, right? So there's like all different ones, but they're exclusive to just that. So that's really, really cool. And that's something where you could sell them to players. You could sell them in game, but they don't sell for much. Like I saw one, it was like 3,000 credits that it was selling for.
Right.
I'm not selling it for that. I don't care. That's my value.
That's any MMO.
Different.
Exactly. That's any MMO. Like you can go raid on any MMO, get some high quality gear, and then go to a fucking vendor and sell it, and it'll be they're going to undercut you like hell. Because if you go to the player market, it's going to be way more valuable than what the vendor is going to buy it for. So like, we need more of that.
Yeah, for
sure.
Yeah, because so that's like where I'm like, oh, man, I'm not really enjoying Siege, but I gotta play Siege.
Yeah, because you have a reason. You have a reason to play because there's something that you can have that has an intrinsic value.
Yep, I'm like Siege has
and
these
then
flaws.
If they change
I'm
it,
not enjoying it, but I gotta play Siege.
And then if they change it year on year, right? Like every year or every time that there's a Siege of Orison, like they change what the drops are. And then there's only that number of drops that they put, like with persistence. Like I hope persistence works the way they've advertised, because if there are only 100 sets of that lieutenant gear in the game, if you have a full set, like you're set, like you're good. Like
that's going to go on a mannequin in a place that nobody could touch for the rest of its life.
Exactly.
And like that's what MMOs are about for me.
That's what it should. And I agree. Like that exclusive stuff, like people go into those social areas kitted out in like all this exclusive gear, and like people are like, yo, do you know what that is? Like that's an important MMO value.
People would comment that that's toxic to me. That
it's not.
Like
it's not.
You just want to flex on people. That's toxic. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just a good feeling to know that I achieved something. That's all it is.
You spend hours. If you spend 8 to 10 to 12 hours in a raid to get some gear, like flaunt that shit. Like you've earned the right to wear it and however, whenever you want to. Like if you've bought it though, like if it was a credit card swipe, that's where I'm like,
takes that away.
Like
I want
it should
CIG
never
to make
be
their
that.
money.
Like,
I want you to make your money, CIG, but I don't want you to devalue my cool achievements through that. Like people are also saying shit that the lieutenant armor and things like that are in the loot table in loot containers. That can't be a thing either, right?
No,
like
it should only
okay.
be at Siege.
Like they're figuring out the loot stuff. It's not going to be perfect now, right? But those are you got to have those moments, and that's where we're kind of. I feel like we're like off topic but on topic because we're not necessarily talking about reputation, but we are talking about driving forces behind MMOs and games like this that are outside of progression that you're making through buying a spaceship, right? It's you have your spaceship, but your spaceship gets you to these places, but it doesn't give you this overwhelming advantage that you will get this item easier, faster in any way. It's still playing the game.
I mean, one thing is we live in a society of instant gratification, and as a company, as a business, you have to market to these people. So you do have to have something for them. That FOMO shit is real. Like you gotta have content for that, but you can't make it all about like that was the video that you had posted of that guy talking about the whales. Like there's a balancing act there. Like you have to make sure you have the stuff for them, but you also have to appeal to that 80% that is going to grind and make sure that, you know, your SaltEMike has his set of gear at Siege of Orison that he can grind and get, and then say, hey, look, I've got this full set kitted out in my hangar, like, and you can't buy this.
Yeah. You can
buy some. There's cool stuff that you can buy. Like you can go buy a gold plated whatever the hell suit of Ninetales armor off of the store. That's fine. But this set right here, you can't buy. You had to be there this year doing Siege of Orison in order to get that.
You're on it. You're on it.
That's
the whale needs to be able to flex and feel like a whale, and I need to be able to flex not on everybody, but I need to be able to flex on the whale and say you couldn't buy this, and that's where, and then everybody else is in between, just having a good time. And
exactly.
Then, right? And then I'm flexing on you for being like having a no life, and then you're flexing on me for having too much money and not knowing what to do with it. And we're all, and you know what? We're all gonna be happy in the end.
And then you got to have the guy that grinds and gets 2 sets of that armor to sell one of them to that whale because he knows, like you have, like that's just how you just balance the game out, man. Like you got to, you have to have that. It's necessary like that, and I think that's how the MMOs that have lasted. Like I've never played Eve, but I'm pretty sure that you can do stuff like that in Eve. Like I know that there's things that you can probably go in the store and buy, but then there's items that you can't, and like there's that balance of like you got this guy who's just gonna, it's especially with streaming now, like right, like you got people who are just playing games for doing like 48-hour streams and crazy shit like that, like grinding their ass off.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. They should be rewarded. They should have exclusive content and things like that, as well as you have to appeal to as many people as you can.
And Star Citizen's definitely trying to do that for sure.
It is. And I think they get distracted, like where they're going to focus on developing stuff. Like I'm in your camp. Like gameplay is
king.
Is king. Like I've got to have something to play. I'm glad I'm not like a full-time streamer. Like, well, you're not really, you're part-time streamer, but I don't have to force myself to play Star Citizen when I don't want to play Star Citizen.
It's not fun. I don't envy it. And I think that's a good place to leave it because we got 2 more callers, and the guys that are in the queue, to just in case we didn't go too long. Oh yeah, we went long. So
hey, and I just want to say thank you for the for that review, because it did actually spark the conversation that I was trying to get with the video. Yeah. So I appreciate that.
Well, and I apologize because I think I was pretty hard on you guys.
No, I think this was you made a fair point. You made a very fair, because like I even me watching it after fact, I was like, yeah, no, I kind of missed the point that I was trying to make. Like I went off on the tangent of the whole thing with how
we do
illegal content should go, and I'm like, well, that's not really about Jumptown. So it was a fair point.
Yeah. All right, bro. It's nice to meet you. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have people on camera because it's just you put a face to the name and stuff, and it's nice. So thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, no
I appreciate
problem.
it. Yeah, and I hope we get our MMO.
Same.
All right, man. And hopefully you can get into Siege before when you get back.
Probably in like December.
It'll be back. It'll be back.
It'll be back around. Hopefully we'll have a 318 by then. Yeah. In PTU. I'm okay with it being in PTU. I'll play it in PTU.
All right. We'll talk to you, Gumbo. Be good.
Later.
Bye. And next is one of my buddies in my org who've been doing the gun running with me. What's up, Evil?
Oh, hello there.
Hello. I hear you great.
Perfect. So first off, I just want to say I lost our boxes to glitches. I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't care. I have 4, so we're fine.
Yeah, me and Dumbax made like 6 the other day too. But
it is what it is.
Yeah. Let's go with the pay to win and reputation stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
The way I look at it is we're already past the point of pay to win to me. Yeah. Because the point where pay to win starts in an MMO, in my feeling, is at the start. Once like the first month is done, then there is no more pay to win. Mm-hmm. So we're already past the point of pay to win. We're already past the point of someone having the advantage over someone else because they bought a ship on the website over earning it in game. You know, people have been earning game or ships in game now for a while. They've been able to hold on to them for patches and stuff like that. So that to me has already knocked out like any pay to win argument that anyone's ever brought up.
Well, we don't have the start yet, to be fair. The start hasn't happened.
Yeah, you're right. But at the same time, like, think of someone that maybe started a month ago, you know, with this patch, and they already earned some subscription game, and someone else that just comes in now. They're already behind. They're already at a disadvantage, regardless of what they bought or what they have. The way I look at it is it's more now of the knowledge that you earn while playing.
Yeah.
And you can see that. Like, just take someone that played at the start, like 2 patches ago, let's say, and they come back like this patch. They're going to be clueless on some stuff. And you played throughout. Like, you're going to be the advantage of the knowledge that you've already gained over what ships you have. You're going to know how to make money. You're going to know where to go. You're going to know like what to do for things. So I don't think there is a pay to win or argument anymore. It's already gained in knowledge here. But the reputation system that you keep going on to is, I think, going to be the biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Because like you guys have already said, you know, I think everyone's already covered it pretty well here. Between the last few people, that the reputation that you gain when the game comes out is something that we don't know how it's going to fully work.
Of course,
it's still up in the air, so it's going to be really hard to determine whether the reputation system is going to do what we need. But then, you know, you have the reputation system that could be there, is which I think everyone is looking for. Like, you gain that reputation with the mining company to get the best mining spots. You gain that reputation system with the trading company to get the best trading lines. You gain that reputation with the combat to get the best combat spots. And that's what I hope. And my experience with MMOs to start with is kind of limited. Like, I played a few. Like, I played Destiny. I played some Outlanders. I played DayZ, things like that. That's like my extent of MMOs. I never played World of Warcraft or League of Legends or anything like that. Sorry, right. I talk a lot.
No, I was just thinking that you don't need to have experiences in these games to just be like, this is what's fun. But I do think a lot of people, like, one of the big things is those World of Warcraft, Ultima Online, EVE, whoever players, they're looking for the next thing. And that's why we always make comparisons to those games. And that's why I ask. And,
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, as they continue on, they're going to keep adding things. I don't think we're going to know where that reputation system is going to take us until it's in game. And I don't think we're going to know of that, hey, this is the best stuff to have, until we get to that point where it's actually released. And they're not changing the back end system, because every time they change the back end system, stuff changes.
And I'm not saying that the reputation system is like this is how you get the best stuff necessarily. It is clearly their solution to a progression problem that they created.
Correct. Yeah.
And how that would work and how you would want to see it work.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Like they definitely need this reputation, I think, to offset that. But then again, like I said, at the same time, we're at a point where even if they were, let's say they were to launch today, like the reputation system was in the same systems that we already have. Like all they did with buying ships in game or out of game is they knocked out that first month of play of a new game.
I see what you're trying to say, but your argument is the exact caveat that I was trying to put at the beginning to have people not say that. And I'm still seeing people type it in chat, like the argument that if you want to apply winning in PvP, then you would just say what the cost of a Gladius and an arrow is. So the cost of winning at PvP is $90. We're not talking about the current completely imbalanced, completely broken, no progression, no economy, no persistence, no other systems, no nothing game that we have now. So I don't think you could say if we went live today, then there would be no pay to win. No shit, because there's no game to win in.
Right. No, I agree. All I'm saying though is it's going to need the reputation system to have the better side of the balance. And I'm agreeing with it. Like, I'm not saying that it's wrong, but at the same time, I need to see how the reputation system is going to work fully before I can say, this is the route that we need. They can also do stuff without reputation. Like you might find better trade lanes and have that data network instead of a reputation with a mission giver. Or you might find the better mining locations and have, again, that network of player-to-player reputation that can't be measured in game. So there's going to be two sides of it, and it really depends on how they do their player-to-player economy as well. So it's going to be interesting, I think. I'm not sure how it's going to be because we don't know where it's going. So I don't know where to go with it from there. Like it's hard to sit here and like fantasize about where it's going because they change their mind like every other week, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're focused on where they're going, but I think part of what this is about is giving feedback on where you would like to see it go. Because I don't think they know where they're going either, and they'll definitely take your feedback on creating that direction.
Yeah. I would like to see it go where you can build both reputation with mission givers, factions, and stuff like that, but also build that outside of the NPC reputation as well. Like I said, you find the good trade lanes without going through NPCs and stuff like that, and then you sell that data to people, and then you get that reputation in game of, hey, this person knows like how to find good trade lanes, go talk to them.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to see, is that player to player reputation and org reputation, like someone just said in the chat, over NPC reputation. Because once you get to NPC, someone's going to figure out the meta for it, and then it's going to be on the internet, and then it's going to lose its value.
Dude, this is a whole nother podcast, org reputation. Holy crap, I never even thought about that. But like rankings of orgs, like the top mining org, how would they categorize that and all that? Like, oh, that could be really fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like even in our org, like
that's a kind of an end game idea. Like it's hard to think of what end game could look like, but the end game thing could be being a part of and how an org would maintain its status and what the reward of being a high reputation, like an org with a high reputation, what would that be? You just keep going, man. That's actually, oh man, that got me excited.
Exactly. So I think I would be more excited to see how the player to player and org reputation build naturally in game over the NPC one.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just shitting on somebody in chat for fun.
No, you're good. That's basically all I really had to say. Like I said, the pay to win to me, I think, is already passed. We're already at a point where I don't think there is any more pay to win, any more pay to advance, because of the fact that your knowledge just keeps growing, and it's going to keep growing until they release. And I don't see how a pay to win until that release point comes. And even then, like you've already mentioned, there is no winning part. Like you said, you don't want to talk about, but I still don't believe there is a winning part outside of the knowledge that you have. Pardon?
I think there will be.
There might be. I mean,
and again, having an achievement taken down to a level of I achieved something, but somebody else bought it on the website is part of that winning aspect to me. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out, though. When it comes to that point, I just, it's hard for me to see that right now. Yeah. Okay, Ducky, that's fair.
But I will try to make more boxes and get more stuff. That's all I had to say. So thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah, we need like 50 more railguns. We're in trouble here.
Yeah. With glitches right now, I'm playing more of a stuck citizen than Star Citizen. So we'll see what happens.
Rough. All right, buddy.
All right. Thanks for letting me come on.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. Hey, it's Nick. Nick, are you there?
Hello, I am.
Hey, let me turn you up a little bit.
Okay.
All right, you should be good.
Should be good. I'll turn on my camera since chat likes to have people on camera.
What's up?
What's good?
Yeah, they were getting, now that people are putting on their cam, they're getting sad when people don't.
Right? I was just like, you know what? I'll give them what they want. They want people on cam.
Well, there you go. So, how are you feeling on this? You're our final caller for the day. You got to hear what everybody said. So it's a little more difficult. You're in the tough spot.
Yeah. It's such a hard spot to be in. Oh my God. I think it's really way too early to be saying that the pay to win has been avoided when there are many systems that aren't in yet. Yeah. For instance, we can still purchase Alpha UEC, but we don't know how the AI and Blaze are going to be coming in. So my concern with the pay to win is not being able to directly buy things, but players being able to buy an Idris, buy the Alpha UEC, being able to just go buy the best components they want without a reputation grind. And then on top of that, being able to actually man their Idris fully by just paying AI crew. So that is my main concern on the pay to win, because if one player can just fully man an Idris with just money, then that is one concern I think we need to like have at least expressed and avoided, so that one man can't just run an Idris with just buying things without a reputation grind. I think a reputation grind would be really circumvent that whole situation like immediately, especially if you can, if you can't even get a good AI, or even the number of AI you can even have on a ship is bound by reputation, because AI don't want to go work with you because they don't trust you at all.
Yeah, I want to jump in and say I agree. I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I see chat saying it, so I want to give you a opportunity to respond, because they're being obnoxious and rude about it and calling you dumb and stuff. I think the point that they're trying to make is, why would it be bad for a player to be able to crew and use the 890, or not the 890, the Idris, when you or I would be able to use it and crew it better? Is there, I think, the argument that they're trying to make, but I think the point that you're trying to make is, we don't know whether or not it will be better. You don't know how it'll be.
That was my very first thing that I said before going on this, is we don't know what it will be like. And I just want to put this caveat out there that we need to avoid situations that it could lead to that.
Yeah. So
right.
So you can buy the 890 jump, and if you're in Test Squadron, you can crew it with a bunch of people, but you're always going to have the And to go back to the last caller, because they were making comments on Ducky a little bit too about knowledge. Knowledge isn't just how to mine, or let's say, or how to X. It's the okay, this is how everything works, and everybody has to work together to do it. So it's the dealing with that and getting everybody on the same page. That knowledge is just general game time and getting used to each other or getting used to the situation, right? That time is a thing as well. So if a player is able to just crew an Idris and it just worked perfectly fine and is able to complete a mission that maybe Nick is not, that's where it does become an issue, right?
Yeah, or even going into like, you know, if it's like day one, for instance, and someone does that with an Idris, and it's just like you got like, you know, orgs just trying to figure out how to work an Idris, and this guy has an just basic AI that just all the AI already know what they're doing on the ship, but all the players are figuring out how do these systems work together? How do we communicate together on this Idris? How do we operate this effectively? Well, someone with even a basic stupid AI crew, well, their crew already knows what they're doing. They just got to go fly to where they want and be like, go attack these guys, and be like, okay, well, now we're fighting an Idris that's just like Xenothreat or something, or even worse. So, and also to say to the point where like you can't always depend on all the players being the best all the time. So like you can't be like, oh yeah, we're all gonna be forming a top tier all the time. You know, all the gunners are going to be the best. All the engineers are going to be the best all the time. There's no way we can ever lose to an AI thing. You guys are going to be like the exact same kind of orgs and guilds that get wiped in WoW like 3-4 times before you bite the boss and think you're still good. Like,
yeah,
like it's gonna happen. You're gonna die, like to an NPC eventually. It's gonna happen. And if we can just avoid that situation happening when it comes in, I think it'd be a much thing. And yeah, the whole concept of also the org reputation on top of that, which isn't even a thing, I think even touched by CIG.
Well, nobody's ever talked about it, but it's a sick idea.
That is true. It is an amazing idea. Like actually, like having your own individual reputation in the world, but also the reputation that your org has within the world, which would be much greater, much grander, and does feel like it should be probably the biggest grind, or the biggest reputation grind, and the biggest barrier, and probably the biggest rewards should be within that. Sure. But what could CIG what could CIG put in those rewards that, you know, don't take away from how great of an achievement an org reaching those levels and reputations would be, but also how, you know, I don't want to take away from how great the achievements the players have made, but also like, it just opens a whole can of worms and a whole spider web of things to consider and think about, so that, like, you know, players' reputation feels like they're putting the time in and it feels rewarding, but also that they're contributing to the org's reputation, and that also feels overall rewarding, and none of them are taking it away or anything. And also the negative side of that, how does the reputation affect the other like organizations negatively, and what are the repercussions going to be for that one with the orgs? And that opens up a whole can of worms of spider webs of conversations.
Sure.
That I'm sure, like, you know, and what happens if, you know, you're working with orgs or affiliated with orgs, and they're affiliated with an org that now your org has a negative reputation with. You know, are you guys just going to be seeing red when you guys pass each other? Like, that's just a whole thing that just brings up the thing. But yeah, the whole avoiding pay to win with reputation, I feel, is also, we mentioned this last week, is that it could be easily avoided by players purchasing alpha UEC or just buying things, you know, black market style through players. I feel like another thing that needs to be avoided and moderated very closely is, you know, I feel like buying things in game, like trading things in game for in-game items, is fine. But when you can purchase alpha UEC and someone can do that reputation grind, get those items, and then just give them to another player, and then do a character reset to get that item back, and
it can't happen in the future. That's again that current experience. I think
that is in the current experience, but they need to sort out like how, because pretty much you can duplicate a Vanduul helmet right now easily by doing that. You can have your entire org have a Vanduul helmet without doing anything, without actually having to be in there, without actually having to kill someone for it.
I don't know how bad it would be, but if it's possible, every ship has a serial number. I wonder if every item does. I imagine that it doesn't, but maybe like if your Vanduul helmet is in possession of someone else, it just shouldn't come back when you do a character reset.
Like an NFT,
I guess. Yeah. It should be an NFT helmet.
No, but no, I think custom helmets like that should at least be. But yeah, serialization of the actual items so that we actually know who owns it, who's what, and a way to track it or get it back. CIG definitely needs to get that sorted out and figured out, or else we're gonna have, because we can't. Before we get into these situations, we need to get that sorted out so that we can't have just character resets and get your items back and have someone else have a full set of that armor as well. That needs to be figured out and sorted out. And I also want to see these items in reputation grinds. I want to see, even if they can avoid, buying items and stuff earned through reputation grinds by actually making it a location that is restricted until you get that reputation, so that only you with the reputation can go in there and buy it.
Yeah.
That would be really awesome. And then making it so that you can't sell it or not. But yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough for them to keep it balanced where people are having fun, but not feeling left out. But you know what? There's got to be moments of man, I wish I could do that for everybody. And then when you do have the time or you do get better, you can. And if you don't, you can keep staring at those people and wish you were them. But that's always been the core of every MMO is, oh, look at that guy over there. All right, now I have motivation to go do XYZ thing because I want to be like that guy. That's how it's always been. And it may feel shitty when you're not that guy, but games can't always be about like coddling you and making you feel good and, oh, it's okay, little Johnny, you can have that thing, just $5 here, $10 there. It can't be that way. And the biggest part of any MMO, I feel, outside of like the one thing a lot of people don't talk about, which it was touched on briefly with some of the earlier callers, is the actual like skill and learning the game. I have never played an MMO day one and a week later know everything about it. There's always been things that I've learned about the game like months later, like many months later. I'm like, oh, this is a thing? I didn't even know about this, but everyone at this level is doing this. Yeah. I didn't even know that even existed, like months and months later. And, that is a major part of any MMO. So I feel like, if CIG just kept things, I feel like a lot of the times with the things like the outposts and everything, we know there's outposts out there, but we actually had to go out there and find it. It's not just given to us with every single mission. Yeah. Same with a lot of the caves. I feel like they do miss the gameplay of exploration to actually find these caves on our own, like in a nice, efficient way. But it is rewarding when you actually know and memorize the location of one and just go fly to it and be like, I found this. I know where it is. We can go do stuff in here.
Yeah, for sure. And Matt, again, somebody who used to work at CIG, doesn't work there, just general game developer knowledge. I think I pointed out that he had worked there and he thought that like he knows things about CIG or the way the game works. That's not what it was, but he's a game designer, so we are not. So I usually like to point out things that he says. Everyone should be able to do everything in game completely solo at all scales equals bad MMO mindsets that need to die. Yeah, entitlement. Entitlement just needs to not be a thing. And you need to understand that sometimes giving things that are really difficult and takes a group of people to do. And even though you may not have friends, I didn't have friends in the first, when I first played an MMO, and you stand at a place and see if somebody will take you in. And then some of those people are people that I've made friends for life with, right? That's the kind of unique and special thing about MMOs, and why they're, again, yeah, they're special. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I just hope that, like, CIG at least addresses these things and prevents a lot of these scenarios, and actually brainstorm these scenarios and see how badly it can hurt the reputation of the game and also the player experience when they're in the game. And I just hope we can avoid this and not have a big cluster when we get into the actual live release game and being like, oh, these players are just spending money and they're doing everything I can't right now because they spend money. And, I'm okay with ships, skins, all that stuff. Great. But once you start involving things with alpha UEC and the ability to character reset and, reputation grinds can be skipped at that point. And then it just, what does it even mean to have a reputation if reputation grinds can be skipped, if it can be duped and duplicated?
Yeah.
I mean,
it would be terrible. And that's going to be the challenge. I mean, that's the whole, where the whole theme came from, was like, if I can earn rep and then sell it to somebody else, is it really that big of an achievement? And that's why, like, with that whole biometric idea that was put out there, I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah, it just disables whatever it is because it's not yours. That would be a really good idea. Also, I think turning things into skins and maybe even having skins like fade away if you don't have, like, if you don't own it.
Yeah.
And it just turns into a base armor just because, like, you don't own it. We'll let you, like, have your, like, a nice little look with it for like a week, but after that, it's going to go back to like a base looking set.
Yeah, you can't repair
because
it.
You don't own it.
Yeah, and if you do repair it, it'll just wipe that paint right off, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's another little system that they could look into, because that just turns into like the paint degradation system, which already supports. So
yep,
that'd be interesting.
For real. I don't know. Do you have anything else, Nick? Because we're kind of coming to the end for me.
Yeah, no, that is it for me. I can. Okay. Yep. All right.
You sure?
Have a good one. Yeah, I think we covered everything. I mean, like, I can't think of anything outside of just repeating myself right now. So
yeah, it's true. And we got a long way to go. All of this stuff is super far away, but sometimes it's really fun to have conversations like this. We all know that, there's a lot of game that needs to be made, and a lot of features that need to be put in, and a lot more understanding from us, and a lot more communicating from them before we can speak in absolutes and how this stuff will work. And it's fun to kind of put feedback out there on how we would love and what we enjoy about other video games. And I had a great time. This was one of my favorite Answer the Calls ever. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.
It was a great one. Anyways, I'll be out. Have a good one.
All right, Nick. Be good, buddy. Bye now. So yeah, again, I really, really, really enjoyed this one. So I hope you guys did as well. If you did and you're watching on Twitch, make sure to hit the follow button and stop by for some Star Citizen streams, things like that. And then if you're watching on YouTube, you can stop by Twitch and hang out. And if you're watching on Twitch and you haven't caught the whole episode, it'll be up on YouTube later today. So make sure, like, subscribe, all that stuff for other Answer the Calls. And I'll see you guys on Weekend Review tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.